Hey, what's up, guys? You're listening to the It Takes a Village podcast. I'm Ashley, your host. This is where the struggles are real, the callings are heavy, the kids are sticky. We come together because it takes a village, and this is your tribe. Hey guys, thanks for listening. I'm so glad you're tuning in to this episode. Today I'm talking about preparing for maternity leave because that is where I am in my life right now. That's the season that I'm in. We are officially 7 weeks out today from 40 weeks. And so this is something that's on my mind, and I know it doesn't apply to everybody, but hopefully it's helpful to you anyway. So if you're interested in learning how I am preparing for maternity leave and some kind of ideas that I've come up with to prepare, especially if you're a working mama, but also if you're just any mama, keep listening. So I think the number one thing that we have to do as working moms preparing for maternity leave is to know your P's and Q's, which I don't. This made me really think about, oh man, like I should really know what I have available and what I don't. So if you're a working mom, you need to know your rights and benefits that your company offers, if there are any, if there aren't any, what the little red print is. You need to know that stuff, because if you're going into it thinking you're going to get, X, Y, and Z, and they're like, hey, you didn't read the fine print, that doesn't qualify if, ABC happens or whatever, then you could be screwed, right? Like, this is your financial stuff that we're talking about, and you don't want to be thinking and stressing and trying to figure it out after the baby comes, when you should be resting and when you're dealing with, sleepless nights and a new baby. So definitely know what your rights are, what your maternity benefits are. If your husband has those benefits, if he gets a paternity leave, I think that's what it's called. Just so there are no financial surprises for you guys. Obviously, you're having a baby shower, so the next step I would say is to get your baby gear in order. Go through your stuff. Take back what you need to take back. Don't wait till the last minute. Don't hold on to it to when your baby gets here and you don't want to leave the house, or, you're figuring out how to juggle. You don't want to figure out how to juggle while having to go to the return counter with all these things that, you just want to take it out, take stuff out of the box, test it out, see how it works, get a feel for everything, look through everything. Think about what's going to be useless and what you'll really need, and plan accordingly, whether that's pre-baby shower, post-baby shower. I suggest getting it together in kind of maybe increments. Every weekend I do a little bit, so that way it's not a lot all at once, and I take stuff back and I return it or exchange it, and that way I'm not trying to do it right up until the last minute, and then it's just crazy stressful. Everybody's maternity leave, if you're a working mom, is going to look different. You're going to have to prepare things in different ways. I know for myself, my workplace is looking for a replacement for me for the 3 months. And so I'm already typing up a little folder for them that tells them basically the daily things that if I don't get a chance to train them because of, maybe I go into labor, or if they get hired after I've already left or whatever, that way it's there for reference, that they can look and it's useful and it's helpful, and they know how to do what I do until I get back, because don't take my job, people, but you know what I'm saying? So for everybody's different positions, you're going to prepare, whether it's making sure your emails are all set to go, and they say, you're on vacation mode or whatever needs to be set up. Start doing that day by day, so that, like I said, it's not all at the last week that you're trying to get all these things done and you're stressed out, and you the last week, you should be focusing on just preparing yourself, preparing your body, getting in a good mental space, and not worrying about all the to-dos for work. That also includes getting with your boss or whoever your supervisor is, and being clear on their expectations of you and your abilities, what you're willing to do. Because if you say, yeah, sure, I'll answer emails, and for them that may translate as, okay, she's going to be available 24/7. We're just going to expect her to be able to reply to all these emails whenever. And that shouldn't be the case. Like, you need to be clear of, like, I will answer my emails between this time and this time while I'm on vacation or maternity leave, or I won't answer them for 2 weeks after the baby's born, and then I will get to them, or like, just have clear expectations between the both of you guys. And I know that's something that me and my coworkers are working out right now, or what are my expectations while I'm gone. What can I do to help them? What can they ask of me? Making sure that I get paid if I do help. If I'm not, going to get paid, then I'm maybe not going to help. So make sure you're clear on that, and that you guys discuss those sort of things. Okay, my next tip to prepare for maternity leave, and this is going to sound crazy, but I work at a school that takes as young as 6-week-old infants. So I know that this is true, and I know that so many new parents don't know about this. If you're going to have a baby, you need to, and you're going to go back to work, for sure you're going to go back to work, you need to already be getting childcare in order. Like, if you're due, you probably should have already done that 3 months ago. It is insane, the wait list for infant care at all the places, especially if it's a private school, especially if they specialize in little infants, because those classes have the least amount of kids in them, which means there's the least amount of spots in them. And if you're a new parent, you just assume that, wow, I don't need to, my baby's not here yet. I don't need to call and inquire about a place until my baby is physically actually here. But honestly, you have to tell them and secure your spot on the waiting list if they have one. Usually there's a fee. Somehow you need to go ahead and put yourself on that list and get on there, because chances are there's a ton of people waiting to get in, especially if it's around, this back to school time and all the parents are going back to work. For instance, my school is already taking wait list for infants for the year 2020. Like, it's insane. So if you haven't already, get on the ball, start researching. And also, this gives you the opportunity to set up a test run, like when you're on maternity leave. So say you get in one, and you, during this leave, however long it is, you have the opportunity to test run these places. So maybe you put yourself in multiple, daycares or childcare facilities, so that way you can know that if, when you test run, while you're still available, you're still at home, you're still able to come pick up your baby, you can check the ins and outs, like you have all day, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to work and dropping them off for the first time, but you're going through, okay, what would my routine look like if I was working? Like, let's figure this out, and you can kind of get a feel for it before the real deal, and also get a feel for the place before it's harder to resituate while you're working. Another tip to prepare for maternity leave is coming up with a list. And this is not a to-do list. Do not make yourself a to-do list on maternity leave. Like, this is not the time to get the remodel done. This is not the time. That's the last thing that we should be doing while we have this short period with our little ones before going back to work, and while we should be letting our bodies heal, is trying to do a deep cleaning or a garage clean out or anything like that. This is a to-do list of, how can I make my maternity leave easier on me? So for me or myself, I'm coming up with freezer meals that I can make, and maybe it's I make 3 a weekend. I'm waiting for my husband to get our deep freeze fixed. Otherwise, I would have already started, but I want to make casseroles that I can throw in the oven really quickly, especially because if you have food allergies, or if you don't have somebody or a tribe that's going to do a meal train for you, the last thing you want to be thinking about is cooking out or cooking dinner, and you don't want to be wasting all your money on eating out every night because, you have a newborn and life is crazy. So plan ahead of time, meal prep, think about those things that'll make your life easier. Also, will it be helpful to have family? Is that going to make your life easier? Is it going to make it more stressful? I know for myself, having people in my space when I have a newborn baby and my body feels weird, and I just want to rest, and I want to be able to nurse without worrying about my boob hanging out and, who's here. I just want to recuperate and get into this new norm. So having people in my home is not helpful for me. But maybe you have a family member or a mom or whoever that is like A plus, like they take care of all the things, they cook and they clean that up, and they don't stress you out at all, and they make your life easier. Then maybe you want to plan for them to be there. So your tip number 4 or 5, whatever tip number this is, your tip number, this is your to do, is to figure out the things that will make your life easier post baby. Okay, the next few tips I feel like are small and maybe less, I don't want to say less important because they have such a big impact, but they're not as crucial maybe, or I don't know. Just hear me out, and here are my other little small tips for you guys, and these are things that I'm going to be checking off as well, is to, 1, organize a meal train. If you don't have somebody doing it for you, do it for yourself. Have it and share it with your family. Share it with your friends that are close by. Or ask a friend, hey, would you mind organizing a meal train for me a week after my baby's due? Have that set up. Don't wait for somebody to do it for you because they may assume that you don't need it. People do not know what you need and what you don't need. And if you don't ask, they'll assume it's because it's already taken care of, or they think that you have family doing that, or, this and that and the other. So take it upon yourself to make sure that gets done. This next small tip is kind of like twofold, and it's finding your mom tribe, or thinking about a group of women that you can lean on, that you can shout out to late at night, early in the morning, throughout the day when you're going through stuff, especially if you're a new mom to a newborn. Having that sounding board of, hey, like my child's doing this and that, like I need advice. I need somebody to just hear me out. Like I don't need your advice, just listen. Have that group of women in mind, so that way, either 1, you can let them know ahead of time, or 2, you just know on the top of you're ready to go and ready to message them, and you know that they'll be able to be there for you. The twofold part of this is that I feel like it's part of what preparing yourself for the 4th trimester should look like. And I know you guys have seen that a lot. And if you haven't, the 4th trimester is like a new thing. And basically it's about your mental well-being after a baby's born, because we all know that our hormones just go like nutso after baby. And sometimes it can be for the worse, and so preparing yourself for that, putting in place the support that you need, those kinds of things. And maybe that would be a separate issue or separate episode of talking about the 4th trimester, but also reading up on that and just preparing yourself for it. Because if you're a new mom, that's not even on your radar that that's a possibility. And it happens to so many women, and it throws people for such a curveball because they didn't see it coming, or they didn't expect that it was going to happen to them because they haven't had depression or anxiety before. But let me tell you, there are some things that a baby can do to your body that are like none other before. So that was kind of a twofold of preparing yourself and your wellness after a baby. My other tip is to have a game plan when if you're waiting, like if you're not having an induction, or even if you are, you kind of need to have a game plan. If you already have kiddos, who's going to watch your kids while this is going down? How are the kids going to get up there to see the baby? Are they going to come up there to see the baby? Are you going to wait for them to get home? Who's going to watch the pets while this is going on? Who's going to feed them? Who's going to take them out? If you wait till your water breaks on its own, or you go into labor on its own, do you have a game plan with your husband of, okay, this is where we're going to meet if I'm at work. This is where we're going to meet if I'm at home. Who's going to pick up the kids? Are we going to take the kids with us and somebody will meet us there? Kind of that way in the moment, you guys aren't scrambling, trying to figure out what the heck is to do, with everybody and everything, meanwhile trying to get yourself to the hospital. So remember that game plan. And this comes to the next tip of, are you going to have visitors? If you're going to have visitors, who are they going to be? Are you going to allow them at the hospital, or are you not? So I'm going to be honest with you guys, and some of my family members probably listen to this podcast and they're either going to laugh or they're going to hate this part. But when each kid was born, actually, no, I take that back. When my last was born, our son, I specifically told my doctor not to let anybody in for an hour after the birth. And she basically told the family members and everybody and the nurses to leave us alone for an hour so we could have time as just a family. And me and my husband could have time before anybody started just coming in like a revolving door. And what she told them was that, the nurses and whatever were cleaning up and letting me rest and, doing their thing with the baby, and which none of that was actually happening. So, but it was really good because after something so exhausting, so like it's just a huge momentous event, it takes all of you, it takes every piece of you, and you just need a moment. Like, you just need a moment to relax, to recoup, to take it in, to, all the things. And so having people immediately start coming in like 15 minutes after the baby's cleaned up is not ideal for me. And maybe it is for you. Maybe you're like game plan, like I'm ready. I'm like, I don't know. But just figuring that out and getting on the same page with your husband and maybe letting your family members know ahead of time, what it's going to look like if you're just going to do close family, and letting friends know, hey, like if you want to come next week when we're home after we've had a week at home to, relax and get in a routine or, get into this new groove, letting people know so that way they don't just show up. But I think the most important thing is getting on the same page with your husband so that way he's not telling his family one thing and you're not telling your family another, or, like that sort of thing, to where it just causes conflict. So if you can get on the same page and talk about visitors and what that looks like and your goals for that and your desires and stuff, maybe you can work out a compromise or something, at least being on the same page. This is my last tip and probably my most serious tip, and I hope you guys take this to heart, and I hope you really, really do this, because I think that it will be super beneficial to you and it's really important. So if you're listening, I need you to stop doing whatever you're doing, listen to what I'm about to say, and make sure it gets done as part of your maternity checklist. Are you ready? My last tip, this is for real, you guys, is to disconnect and focus 100% on you and taking care of you. And I want you, if possible, to schedule a postnatal massage. I am somebody, I'm totally guilty of when I'm sick, when I shouldn't be doing all the things, I am doing all the things. And when my body is telling me don't, I want to prove my body wrong, and I want to say that I can. And even if I can, that doesn't mean that we should. Our body is going to go through this traumatic process. Like, think about it. You have a human inside of your body. You've been growing this human for 9 months. Your organs have been all rearranged in your body. Your skin is stretched to the max. You're going to use all of your strength to push this human out of your body. Or you're going to be using all of your body to do the healing from the doctors cutting the human out of your body. You're going to be healing from your lady parts because they're going to be stretched out the wazoo to fit your beautiful child into this world. The last thing you need to be doing is worrying about, like I said at the beginning of this episode, cleaning out the garage, getting all those cobwebs that you never got to, all those weeks or years that you've been, working and doing life. It's time to take care of you and make a plan for you and be selfish. And that's totally fine. It's totally fine if you're in bed for the next week because you just gave life to a human. Like, I don't know how many times I can say that. And I think that I'm saying it more so that way I can tell myself, like, you're going to give birth to like a human. Your body is going to do this. And even though you know that you feel like this champion mama and you want to like jump back in the game and you can do this, with all your kids, and this is my third round and I want to be able to be like, I'm going to hop right back into, doing this with the kids, and I'm going to take time to do, and honestly, I owe it to my body to slow the heck down, take a bath, take care of myself, buy special baths for post, birthing, do the things that you need, rest, Like those freezer meals, those will be helpful in this time. Use all of them during this first week. Maybe you do the meal plan this first week so you don't have to cook and you're sleeping and you're napping. Like, be selfish because you deserve it. You did so much work. We've gone through so much to bring these babies into this world. I know that everybody's pregnancy story is different, but we all worked hard in all different ways, and we just owe it to our bodies. So I really want you guys to take that last tip to heart and take it seriously, because I think it does have an impact on not only our physical wellness, but our mental wellness, and then also our ability to handle the obstacles that come with a newborn. And also it gives our body a better chance of functioning better, like in the future and as the process of healing goes on. So those are my tips. And like I said, I am guilty, just as guilty as anybody who doesn't listen to myself when I give good advice to other people. I am totally going to take this advice this time because I know how important it is. And I know how impactful all these things are into that fourth trimester, for our mental and physical well-being. I remember being pregnant with my firstborn, I think it was. No, I just gave birth to my firstborn, and I had people at our house, and I thought it was what I was supposed to do because that's what everybody else did, and that's just kind of traditionally what people did, was have, your parents or your mom come to your house and help you. And I actually ended up like crying in my closet, and I just wanted everybody gone. And so now, like, I know that it's real. Like, our emotions, they're going to make no sense. Sometimes we've just gone through a lot. I think we need to give ourselves that space to heal and process, and whatever that looks like for you. So I just want you guys to take it seriously. I hope these tips for preparing for maternity leave were helpful. When I was researching all these, I was looking through, and they were pretty basic, and I wanted to really give you guys impactful tips. Like, you already know, like, all the things that you need to do at work to get done. I didn't want to do that for you. I didn't want to go through like all the rules and regulations of maternity leave and all that stuff. Like, you can do that on your own. I wanted to give you something that would be more impactful. So I hope that was helpful. Y'all, I'm running out of breath. Oh my gosh. I have no more room in my belly, for real. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you guys tune in to the next episode as we're getting closer to my due date. I'm really excited now that I feel better, and we're just getting closer, and it's exciting, and the kids are excited. So hope you guys keep listening. I am super glad I got this episode out on time this time. So you're welcome. And I hope you guys make sure to subscribe so you don't miss another episode. Share this with a mama who's expecting, because maybe these are things that she hadn't thought about. Maybe I mentioned something that she hasn't thought about that will really help her. Because sharing is caring, and it takes a village, yo. So I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for listening.